So we'll let everyone in.
Maybe if Leo wants just to review a little bit the schedule, Leo, just to make sure that we're
Você tem que ampliar.
Leonardo, I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear?
Yes.
Leo, check your translation status.
Sana, how do you want me to introduce you?
I can't hear you at all, Leo.
Sana, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you, Martin, but I think Sani and Leo are on some translation channel that's not working for the rest of us.
I just want to know how she wants me to introduce her.
Martin, you asking me how to introduce me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you?
Yeah, you can introduce me.
Work on your research has been on networks,
Mm-hmm.
and you're a sociologist by training, right?
Yep, correct.
Okay.
You got it.
and you finished at Utrecht.
Mm-hmm. In the Netherlands.
And then you did a postdoc here, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you never did a postdoc?
No. After my
you were a
graduation, I started as a lecturer here.
Oh, you were lecturing in the sociology department?
No, here at the GSC. Here at the GSC.
Oh, in the GSC. Okay. Where'd you meet Dan?
Research.
Doing research and networking?
Yeah, networking.
That worked.
Yeah.
I like that.
I remember when I had to
network researcher networked.
When I had to migrate here, I went on this fiance visa, and they asked like, how do you meet? And I said through work, because we do similar research. And that was apparently a very uncommon reason. Most people that marry internationally, they meet online. So I was an oddball in the pool.
You met online? You met online doing research?
No, we didn't meet online, but most people do who marry internationally. Apparently, the office that I went to at that time.
So you were in Holland and he was here when you married?
Mm-hmm.
Can we confirm that we can hear Leo? I haven't been able to hear Leo at all. I still can't hear you, Leo.
Can't hear too.
Gabriela, can you check? Can you hear him?
You check the bottom right corner, perhaps you switch to English, or you turn off click on the interpretation and then check off.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
So I can hear you on the English channel, but I can't hear you when translation is off.
Yeah.
Oh, you're here as interpreter?
Yeah.
No, it's not a translator.
I think it's switched. Where is written in English is for Portuguese, and where is for Portuguese we are using English somehow.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm hearing you on the English channel.
So we'll let everyone in. We start.
Okay, tô ouvindo você.
Can you speak, Leo?
Canal
Leo, can you speak? I want to see if I can. I can hear you on the English channel. Because you're speaking English. Makes sense.
Okay, estamos live.
Okay. There's 61 people on.
Yeah. Quem começa?
Leo, could you please?
Cristina, você tem que começar. Então,
eu...
esperando.
Ok. So, olá todo mundo. O meu nome é Cristina, sejam todos bem-vindos. Eu acho que nesse momento, estamos entendendo que houve um pequeno... Estamos tentando só acertar a questão dos canais. O que está acontecendo, acho que houve uma troca entre o português e o inglês. Então, vamos acertar assim. O Leonardo Rosa, eu acho que todo mundo pode ver o Leonardo Rosa na tela, ele é o nosso postdoc do Lehman Center, que vai ser o nosso apresentador de hoje. Ele está falando em inglês no canal de inglês, porém, ele deveria estar falando, nós vamos combinar de falarmos português, onde está o canal de inglês. E a Gabriela Palumbo, faz um oi para a gente, Gabriela, por favor. É a nossa tradutora em inglês que está no canal chamado Português. Então, para facilitar de uma maneira bem brasileira, nós vamos fazer esse arranjo. Vamos continuar. Eu proponho que continuemos todos no canal conforme estamos. Quem precisar... mudamos agora. Te escuto, sim. Verdade. Isso. Correto. Leonardo, por favor, vamos ver agora se você fala para a gente conseguir... Se você falando, nós conseguimos te ouvir. Fale, por favor, em português, não importa o canal que você esteja. Assim que esperamos que você não esteja em nenhum canal. Eu acho que ele continua no canal de inglês. Agora eu te ouço. Ok. Eu vou passar, então, Leonardo, o meu host para você, para a gente ver como funciona. E eu falo com o Hip pelo telefone. Hip, I'm gonna be talking. Hip is our webmaster. I'm so sorry, everyone. Desculpa, gente, a situação nesse momento, mas... O Hip, eu vou falar com ele por telefone e, Leonardo, eu estou te passando o host, tá bom? Te ouço. Pode. Mas deixa eu te passar como host.
Pronto, eu estou como host.
Okay.
E agora...
Ótimo. Mentira.
Está funcionando agora.
E eu, Gabriela, preciso voltar a ser intérprete, por favor, que tiraram a minha capacidade de interpretação. Hip.
Could you please get her back to the interpreter mode?
Not yet. Hip. Ok.
Ok.
Tudo certo?
Não tudo certo, porque Leo agora é intérprete mais uma vez.
Sorry, Belle. Desculpe, that was me trying to figure out some other way. Let's continue recording. Hip, I don't know if you can hear us. I cannot see you here. But we need to have...
what are we trying to figure out?
Hip needs to give her, Gabriela, the control.
No, I have
Gabriela's okay.
Oh,
Eu
okay.
também.
Okay, now Leo.
Yes.
Agora vocês podem
Léo também,
me ouvir,
ótimo,
certo?
perfeito.
Certo.
Não, mas me tiraram de novo como intérprete.
Exato, só que tá dando algum problema aqui. Então calma aí, Gabriela.
Eu tô tranquila.
Vamos lá. Deixa eu...
Eu vou dar uma olhada aqui também.
Não,
Gabriela.
espere aí, deixa eu tentar resolver aqui. O problema é que tem muita gente fazendo o mesmo.
Só pode
Muita
ter...
coisa.
Você vai traduzir de inglês para português.
Os dois, os dois. Só joga para mim que eu vou ficar entre os dois. Inglês para português, português para inglês.
Perfeito. Então, tá bom.
Okay. Shall we go?
Almost. Soon.
Acho que possamos começar com o Leo
Okay.
falando português. A única pessoa que não entende é Sani. E
Alright.
quando consertamos o problema, ela pode...
Now I think we are good. Now I think we are good.
Ok,
Right?
mas temos que começar.
Yeah. So, hi everyone. I'm Leonardo Rosa. I am a postdoc here at Stanford in the Graduate School of Education, specifically in the Lehman Center. I'm part of a group of researchers that do research in Brazil. So today I have the pleasure to be the host of this meeting. Thank you so much for being here. Right? I'm gonna start this meeting sharing my screen. All right, and we are going to start our conversation. Just a second. All right, so there we go. So today we are going to talk about the new master program at Stanford, the Education Data Science Master's Program. How it's going to work, we are going to have some people talking, the directors of the Lehman Center, the director of this program, and you guys can ask questions if you want. And to ask these questions, you are going to use a link that I'm going to put right now at the chat here in Zoom, okay? So basically, if you want to ask something, you are going to click in this link and then you can ask, all right? So let me open the chat here and you can, oh my God. And you can click. All right, so here's the link. If you need, just click there and ask questions. We are gonna follow the questions by there, all right? And if you don't have the chance to answer the question today, we can send you an email answering the question if you think we didn't answer that here. So let's go back to the presentation. So the second way you can ask a question is just raising your hand using the button at the chat, at the participants also, and we can put you online and you can ask the question directly, all right? Even if you have another question, you can send us an email. So basically now I think everyone already figured out what is going on here, right? So you have the interpretation button, so you can switch off to hear me in English. You can switch to Portuguese to hear Gabriela that is translating this conversation to us. And a little bit about the Lehman Center. As I told, it's a research group here at Stanford. We work with Brazil directly. I personally work with data science, economics, and education, the intersection of these three areas. These three professors you see in the screen are the directors of the program, David Plank and Martin Carnoy, both professors. They are here today to answer your questions. The other director is Eric Bettinger, that's not today here. There are a bunch of fellows here today. One of the fellows, it's myself, Leonardo Rosa, but there is also Rodrigo, Ana Queiroz, Camila Pereira. So, and they will be here to help you to figure out some questions that the professors eventually cannot answer, or even Sani, that's the director of the program. In the Lehman Center, we have two different visiting programs besides, which is a different thing than coming here to do the master's program. You can apply as a visiting scholar if you are associated to an university in Brazil. You can apply as a visiting scholar if you have a doctor, a PhD degree, and if you are in a doctoral program in Brazil, you can also apply for being a visiting here for 3 months. So there are different programs that the Lehman Center is connected. The first one is the International Comparative Education Program. The second is the Learning, Design, and Technology. There is also a connection between the Lehman Center and the business school at Stanford, where they have a joint MA in education and in business. We are also part of policy organization and leadership studies here at Stanford. And now I think we are part of the educational data science program. So all these programs, you have details about them at the Graduate School of Education website. And again, if you have some questions, you can write us using the link that I just made available for you. So now I'm gonna call here David Plank, and he's gonna talk a little bit about the visiting program.
Ok, boa tarde a todos e todas. Eu sou David Plank, sou dos co-diretores do Centro Lehman aqui em Stanford. O meu colega Leo falou inglês, eu vou falar português. E queria agradecer a presença de todos, e especialmente a presença do nosso colega Sunny Smith, que é a coordenadora do programa de Data Sciences em Educação, e ela vai falar do programa depois mais tarde na reunião. Eu descrevo um pouco o Lehman Center e as nossas atividades, e depois passo a palavra para Martin Carnoy, o meu colega, que vai discutir os programas de mestrado e doutorado no Graduate School of Education e também no Lehman Center. O Centro Lehman foi estabelecido em 2011 com a missão de apoiar o melhoramento do sistema educacional no Brasil. E trabalhamos em parceria com agências públicas federais, estaduais e municipais, e com os nossos colegas acadêmicos, com nossos alunos e também com o terceiro setor no Brasil. Temos 3 grandes linhas de atividade. Primeiramente, formamos alunos. Já formamos mais que 50 mestrados no GSE e mais que 10 doutorados. E segunda, participamos nas pesquisas, em pesquisas estudando o sistema educacional do Brasil, com um foco especial no desempenho dos alunos e das escolas no Brasil, entre os estados brasileiros, e também nas desigualdades, em termos ou da região, ou do estado, ou dos grupos sociais ou raciais. E terceiro, temos 2 grandes projetos no Brasil. O primeiro se chama PED, que é um projeto que trabalha para melhorar a formação dos professores nas escolas brasileiras. Trabalhamos em parceria com muitas universidades brasileiras, federais, estaduais e particulares. E o segundo projeto é o D3E, Dados para um Debate Democrático em Educação, que trabalha para minimizar a distância entre a comunidade acadêmica e os policymakers em Brasília e nos capitais estaduais. Neste ano, estamos iniciando um projeto no Centro Lehman de recrutamento dos alunos. Queremos ampliar e diversificar o conjunto de candidatos para as bolsas do centro e, como o Martin vai explicar, nós oferecemos bolsas generosas para os alunos no programa mestrado e doutorado e também para os Visiting Fellows e Visiting Student Researchers. E, Martin, eu passo a palavra para você para explicar os programas de mestrado e também as bolsas do centro.
Ok, obrigado, David. Eu vou falar muito brevemente, porque Leo já ha mencionado os 5 programas de mestrado. Temos também um programa de doutorado, nos mesmos programas, mas a aplicação para doutorado para este ano já se terminou, mas as aplicações para os programas de mestrado, eu acho que a data final é o 8 de janeiro. Por isso, temos ainda um mês para fazer a aplicação para cada os 5 programas, 5 programas que são internacional, combinado mestrado em comércio mais mestrado em educação, que é um programa de 2 anos, um programa de política de educação, que é 9 meses, o programa internacional é 11 meses, e o programa de ciências de dados, data sciences, é sobre que vai falar Senna Smith hoje, é um programa de 18 meses. E todos são programas de mestrado, também o programa de tecnologia, o desenho de tecnologia educacional, a ciência de aprendizagem. Este também é um programa de 11 meses. E todos estes programas, para todos estes programas, recrutamos estudantes para ainda este ano 21-22, para setembro 21. A informação é sobre o sítio da Escola de Educação de Stanford. Toda a informação, e se tem umas perguntas, podem escrever a nós. Vamos a responder rapidamente. Por isso, eu acho, David, que eu tenho o prazer de introduzir a Senna, não?
Sim, por favor.
Ok. Senna Smith é o diretor do novo programa de ciência de dados, data sciences, um programa de mestrado desde 8 meses. E ela vai descrever exatamente o que é o programa, mas devo dizer que Senna fez o doutorado em Holanda, é uma socióloga, faz pesquisa sobre os redes de pessoas, redes em geral de pessoas em educação, e isto usa dados grandes, números de dados, e por isso ela é experto em ciência de dados e agora é diretora do programa na Escola de Educação. Sena quer continuar?
Thank you so
Did you get
much,
me?
Martin,
Did you get the
for that
translation?
very generous introduction. So my name is Sana. Welcome, everybody. I'm happy to see so many people interested in education data science. I do see myself more as a facilitator and a coordinator of the program rather than, an expert on data science, but I've been working in this field for a few years now, and I'm very excited about the opportunities data science can bring. And so I'm also equally excited about this master's program in that it will educate, hopefully, lots of people with excellent skills in analyzing data. So I'll share my screen as I have a presentation for you. All right. So first of all, before we'll start. I wanted to ask you what your ideas are about what data science is. I didn't expect there to be 88, close to 90 people. And so I had this idea of, that we could sort of talk about it. But with 90 folks, that seems a bit much. So if you feel that you have some idea about what data science is or what it means to you, feel free to drop it in the chat.
The chat is blocked, Sandy, but I'm
it's locked.
okay. I'm gonna. I can open that if you want. Let me open. So I open there, so people can.
Thank you.
Dana, you didn't think that there was so much interest in your program, but there is.
Yeah, it's very good to see. We've had webinars before in general, and usually we had about 30 people, which makes it a bit more manageable.
You're in the big time now.
Yeah. All right, I see some responses coming in. Analyze data to improve solutions, programming, learn from data, smiley face. Science of using data to solve problems, getting insights from data. All right, interesting. It's good to see. Data to make discoveries and decisions. Excellent. So from your responses, I see that many of you have already some ideas about data science. Maybe some of you are a little bit confused about what data science is and what it could be for education. And that's completely understandable because it is a rather new field that is still rather undefined, which makes it actually quite exciting because we have some land to move here. So usually when we're thinking about data science, some common working definitions are that it's an interdisciplinary field, meaning that people with different scientific backgrounds are active in this field, that uses scientific methods, processes, algorithms, and systems to extract knowledge and insights from structured or unstructured data. So many of the chat submissions that I see really already hint towards that. So some of you have a good understanding of what data science can be. As you were signing up for this webinar, one question that you may have had is, why do we have education data science? Data science exists. There are many programs out there about data science, but there isn't generally an education data science up until now, of course, here at the GSE. Well, if we think about that, education is exactly the place where society provides its members the opportunities to learn skills and norms that really uniquely position people to succeed in life. Then we can also understand that it's exactly here in education that has a lot of potential to shape what our society is and what it should be, and to better understand it. Now, recently, what we've noticed is that there is far more data out there. We have an increase of complex and large data, and that comes with unique opportunities. For example, we see text data from online discussions, lesson repositories, social network data. That's what I've been mostly active with. You can think of student interaction in massive online courses or social media platforms. You can think of video data where you have, images of classrooms, clickstream information from digital courses, you name it. All in all, we have far more detailed records on student course taking progress and completion. And so with that increase of data, we also have advanced methodologies at our hands. And some things that you can think of is network analysis, natural language processing, measurement is a big field. How do we think of how we measure things that we're interested in, learning analytics and experiments as well. And with these two ingredients, we have a recipe for a need for domain expertise. So here in this nice Venn diagram, what you see is that education data science is really in the intersection of computer science, statistics, and education. And why do we need that domain expertise? Shouldn't we just leave the data science over to computer scientists? Well, in this master's program, we are convinced that domain expertise is very important. There's a real issue if you think about this idea of strangers in a data set, people who are removed from the topic in multiple levels. And so we believe very strongly that in order to ask the right questions, provide useful information from these vast amounts of data, it's really important that you acquire a good understanding of the environment, of the stakeholders, of the policies, how people learn as individuals or as groups and as organizations. In a nutshell, that's really what this program is all about. So we just had a conference on education data science a few months ago here at Stanford this fall. And I wanted to give you a peek into one or two, depending on time, research projects that I saw there that I thought might be helpful in giving you some idea of what education data science is and what it might look like. And so I'm going to highlight some papers from that conference that I thought were pretty interesting. And I'm also going to drop this link in the chat because it's really nice that the organizers made all the papers and talks available. And so if you're very interested in this field, this is a great place to start in learning more what kind of work is being done in this area. All right, I think I might actually only explain one paper because of time. I want to make sure that there's lots of time for questions and discussion. Okay, so here's one of the papers. It starts with this question and with this observation that online education has really been taking off, and I think this paper was before pandemic, but you can imagine right now online education is basically all that we're doing. But they started out with this notion that online education is increasingly available. And what's always interesting when you have a technological innovation is that people see opportunities for reducing inequality. So here's a picture of the radio where the promise was, well, when you have a radio, an underprivileged school becomes a privileged one because it allows to, give extra information that a school may not have had access to. But with each technological information, people can also ask the question, well, does it really reduce education inequality? So there have been several papers that already show that this isn't really the case. So for example, we see that male, younger, lower performing minoritized students suffer much more from online learning compared to students who start off from a better position. And so there is some evidence that online learning is not an equalizing force necessarily, but rather risks us for widening a gap. Now, online learning is not going away. So as educators, we might ask the question, how do we understand this better? And how do we design our learning experiences to benefit all rather than just some? So how might data science come into play? Well, think about that students move through online classes, right? Through online education. And while they do, we amass quite some data. So we could study usage patterns, we could study course interaction. And what these authors did here, Renee Kazilchik and Justin Reich, is that they added an experiment in a massive online course. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it. So first of all, they focused on this international phenomena that they observed, that students in less developed countries, as measured by this Human Development Index, tended to complete online courses at far lower rates than students in more developed countries. So here you see a human development scale where a higher value means that it's considered to be more affluent nation, more developed. And here's a completion rate of courses. And you see that students from more developed countries tend to complete, have higher completion rates. So often these inequalities are described by, there's a language barrier, there's an access barrier, it's a matter of formal education. But in this particular study, what they were interested in is, well, maybe it has to do something with how this education is being delivered. So most of online courses, as you may know, they're offered by elite US universities, and as such, they might be really poorly tailored to people from other countries. You can think of that the content might be very North American, the opinions, the pedagogy, the titles, impressive logos, pictures. They may all cue to these students that this course might not be for them. So the authors of this study had this idea, well, what if we add an experiment? What if we add an intervention? They did two things. First, they added a component that targeted student belonging. So they added an activity where learners that had doubts about whether they fit in this course, where their sense of belonging was strengthened by giving them some evidence that these doubts are usually normal, they're usually short-lived, and they're definitely not unique to them, and that they are something that you can overcome. A second activity was that they encouraged learners to affirm their values in taking this course. So when people explicitly write about their core values, their self-concept becomes more expansive. And making a particular threat, so for example, if you're threatened by a course, it makes it more manageable once you've written down what you're here to do and what you want to get out of it. So this seems rather simple, right? Two small interventions. But the results that they got were quite staggering. I'm going to walk you through this. So they had two experiments. First one for a course at Stanford, and this one is, I believe, at Harvard. And they put students that were taking this online course in three groups. One group did not get an intervention. One group got the social belonging intervention, and one group got an affirmation intervention. And if you don't do anything in your course, you see that there's this global gap. So this is the course material studied, and persistence is how much they complete in the course. And you see that the more developed countries complete much more than the less developed countries. Whereas the results do indicate that if you add an intervention, this gap really disappears, meaning that this intervention was really very helpful to students in supporting their learning. Now, why is this data science? The type of research that you're seeing here is part of a larger sort of endeavor of these researchers, because they're looking at a set of behavioral interventions over many years with about 250,000 students from nearly every country across about 250 online courses offered by 3 major universities. And so we see that by the availability of these data and these newer sort of education institutions, online courses, we have an opportunity to really understand what might benefit learning globally. I had another example, but I think I'm going to skip it because of time. I will gloss over it. So there are many other examples of how data science can be very, very helpful in understanding how we learn. So if you go to that link that I put in the chat, you'll see that there's papers where people used natural language processing to understand how people talk about how certain people are represented in texts and what that means for their representation. There are papers about organizational learning. There are papers about networks. But all of these papers sort of have in common is that they're making use of less traditional data, that they're making use of a host of methodological tools ranging from experiments to advanced algorithms. So I really encourage you, if you're interested, to take a peek there. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about this program more in particular, because that's what you came for. All right, education data science. This program is new. So we haven't had it before. We're going to start next year. It's a program that integrates that complex and rich disciplines of computer science and statistics with education and social science theory. So it would prepare you to apply these data science skills to particular education, research topics, and practice. Here are some core components. It's a 6-quarter program, so it's going to take you 18 months to complete. And it's going to be cohort-based. We're going to start small with 10 students, but hopefully we will be able to expand over time. And there's going to be 5 specialization tracks. You can think of things like learning sciences, education policy, assessment, social learning, organizational learning, ethics. These are some of the tracks that you can think of. And for data science, you can think of NLP, which is natural language processing, networks, experiments, causal learning analytics. Because it's a very long program, we have opportunities to do an internship or a research assistantship in the summer, which should allow you to put your newfound knowledge and skills onto a concrete and real project. And then another important element of this program is that in the end, the last part of the program, we'll be working on a capstone project where hopefully you can tie everything together. Oops. So here's a sample of the timeline. In the beginning, you'll focus really on the essentials, and you'll have required courses in statistics and a particular education domain. But after that, you will also venture out in specializations. In summer, you'll have your internship. And then in fall, there's time for lots of sort of electives and to really deepen your knowledge in whatever you find most interesting. Whatever you find most interesting, it's usually, a particular direction. But through all these 18 months, there will also be an education data science seminar where we as a cohort guide you through your experiences at Stanford. So we have lots of space there for sense making, community building, professional development, and getting you ready for what to do after this program as well. Oh, I keep going to the wrong slide. My apologies. So this is a new program, and I can't tell you much about where you'll end up because it's pretty new. But we do have an overview of careers for people that graduated from the other master's programs. So we can learn a little bit about that, and hopefully it's generalizable to this program. But what we do see is that 91% of the graduates they find they find a job in the region that they want to work. And we see our graduates really in a variety of positions here at the GSE. So for these other programs, what you see is that some people end up in academia, some people end up in the private sector, education, philanthropy, international development. You see that there's a lot of places where people go after their completion of the program. But probably what you want to know is, well, what can I do with this master's program? And so this is sort of perspective because we're new, but we have given this a lot of thought. That's one of the reasons why we also have this master's program. So when you would graduate at EDS, what you would bring to the table is advanced data analytical skills and a deep understanding of learning. And so there's many organizations that are in need of such professionals. You can think of universities, school districts, nonprofits, edtech businesses. They all really rely on people that can make sense of their large streams of data. And right now, we do see that there is a shortage of such professionals. So I do think that getting your degree in educational data science uniquely positions you for these types of jobs. There's lots of untapped opportunities, I think, for data science in education. So I think as a graduate, you'll have a good sort of setup to find an interesting job. And so thinking more broadly, you can also imagine that the sorts of problems addressed in education, such as individual learning or team or group learning or organizational learning and change, these are actually topics that all companies deal with. And they all need guidance and expertise about these types of things. So more broadly, I think that students in education data science can have a broader appeal and relevance to many other types of organizations outside of education. All right, I'm at the end of my talk, and I wanted to give some opportunity for questions if there are any. I'm not sure how that's usually organized in the webinar, so I'll ask our host, Leonardo.
Tanya, I just wanted to add that Brazil has, among developing countries and even among developed countries, has enormous amount of data. It's a great place to do data science because of the amount of data that's available. And we have we have projects in the Lemon Center that are using big data and data sciences.
Yes.
So Sunny, if I may interrupt, I actually have a question. Could you talk a little bit about what you're looking for in prospective students?
Sure.
It's a small program, and we have 90 people on this call, so there's clearly a lot of interest. What are you most looking for as you decide which students to recruit?
That's a very good question. So we are looking for students that can be sort of leaders in this field. It is very new. So as you are considering this program, I think it would be good to consider if you're sort of up to the challenge. We'll be venturing in sort of unknown waters. It's very much in development, which is on the one hand very exciting. So I think if you are of the mindset that you'd like to be part of a new field, I think that is something that is good to consider. Now, more practically, what kind of prerequisites does this program need? So we don't expect you to show up as a data scientist. It would be nice for you to have some familiarity with data. So perhaps you've been doing some quantitative analysis in your undergraduate's degree or during your work. It doesn't have to be super fancy, but it would be good to see that you understand the opportunities of data and that you know that it's something for you, that you like it. what's very important is that, this is a program that's very particular for education as well, is that we are looking for students that are not just interested in learning the latest and newest algorithms, but are also really passionate about an education topic. This is a master's program. So again, if we're thinking about demonstrated knowledge, maybe this is a time in your life when you're doing a master's program where this is maybe the first time that you're expressing an interest. So don't truly fret about that as well. But it is very important for you to realize that this is a different type of data science program than the more general ones. It's going to be really tailored to education. And although you will be taking many courses outside of the GSE in terms of data science, the fact that this program is going to be focusing a lot on domain knowledge as well is that so the domain interest is something that we find very important as well. Does that help? It's difficult because
Yeah, I think it helps. It always helps students to know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Specificity. Okay, so Leah, are there more questions?
All right. Thank you, Sunny. Thank you so much. We have actually a lot of questions here. So people have been using the form and they typed some questions. I think one of the questions we cover here that you just mentioned, who should apply for the data science, right? So that's a good question. I think one question that's very common in our seminars and in our info sections here, I think it's more for David and Martin. It's related to the scholarship or the funding to cover this master's program or any kind of program associated with the Lehman Center. If David or Martin could answer a question, I mean, give some thoughts about the funding available for this and the other programs.
Okay. Eu gostaria de dizer duas coisas, e Martin pode complementar. A primeira é que as bolsas do Centro Lehman são muito generosas. Eles são suficientes para pagar quase todas as despesas de um estágio em Stanford, não só o tuition, mas também as despesas da vida. Mas a segunda é mais importante, porque queria dizer que o nosso compromisso no Centro Lehman é de apoiar a educação no Brasil. Então, recrutamos alunos brasileiros, mas com o entendimento que o aluno quer voltar para o Brasil, trabalhar no Brasil, apoiar conosco o melhoramento do sistema educacional do Brasil. Então, esse compromisso com o progresso do país é essencial para nós no recrutamento dos alunos no centro. Martin, quer dizer mais uma coisa?
Sim, o processo normal é que uma pessoa faz a aplicação ao programa, uma vez admitido, faz a aplicação para a bolsa conosco. Parte de ser bolsista do Centro Lehman é de participar no centro de uma forma muito ativa. Temos, neste caso, de ciências de dados, temos muitos projetos em que se pode trabalhar durante o verão e durante o ano também sobre os dados. É uma coisa. A segunda coisa é de participar. Temos um seminário todas as semanas, são muito interessantes, sobre vários aspectos de problemas educacionais no Brasil. Essas são as duas coisas, de E normalmente o centro é um verdadeiro centro com espaço físico em que todos os participantes brasileiros e também os mestrados, doutorados, visitantes, e temos um ambiente muito ativo, é um centro que, e por isso ser bolsista é participar no centro de uma forma ativa, como David diz também, voltar ao Brasil para melhorar a situação, a melhorar a educação, de uma forma ou outra, no Brasil. E as bolsas são muito generosas.
Okay, thank you, Martin. I think, Seni, there are a bunch of questions that are very connected to your previous answer, but I think they want to understand more details about the application process. When you are looking at the CVs and the letters of recommendation, or even the personal letter, right? So what do you consider in the application? The GRE, the TOEFL? I mean, we are talking about international students here, so the TOEFL is very important, I think, for them. And also, they want to know more details about, okay, what are the deadlines to the application in this year, if they still have time to apply. If you can, there are a bunch of questions in this direction. If you can be a little bit more specific in terms, okay, what is the pathway to apply?
Sure, I'm happy to elaborate on that. I actually have some slides on that. So let me share my screen again. So first of all, let me start off with the timeline. There's still time to apply. So the deadline is January 8th. And so that means that you still have a short month to apply. When you apply, we will start, going through your application, and then you can expect a decision in early March. Then we'll give you some time to consider whether you want to come. We hope that you do, of course. And so your response has to be due by April 15 in 2021. And then the beginning of the courses would be in September 20. All right. So in terms of applications, I mean, I won't go through sort of all the elements of the application. You can find it on our website. But I do have some application tips that we generally share with prospective applicants. Start early. That means that you probably want to sort of start now, because there are quite some things that you do have to collect. For example, the recommendation letters, they depend on other people. So you want to sort of reach out to them. About the GRE and the TOEFL in particular, EDS does not require the GRE this year, but the TOEFL is required. And so the TOEFL is important because, the program will be in English, and so you need to have a good understanding of English. I'm not sure whether there are sort of opportunities. I think there are some opportunities during summer to strengthen your writing and things like that in English, but there is going to be, I believe, your starting TOEFL score test is important. These are some tips that admissions usually gives out. So we do have, there's a statement of purpose, and those will be read very carefully. And then there are some supplemental essay questions that hopefully will show us that you understand sort of what the opportunities of data are, and that you have an idea of what you'd like to learn here at EDS. And so those are also very important. We'll be looking very closely on those. Then, of course, the resume and transcripts can be unofficial uploaded copy. And about 3 letters of recommendation, the website says that there is a strong preference for academic letter writers, so a professor. But so at least one would be good to have there and have an academic letter writer. But you can also imagine that in absence of those, you may have a supervisor or a co-worker, a manager that may speak about your sort of academic qualities. The website has, on our website, EDS, I think that there, or like the GSE in general, there's an application checklist to check your status, which you might feel very, to be very useful. And so these are the tips that I can share with you. I hope this helps.
Thank you, Sunny. I feel we still have time for one last question, right? So, and I think this question is for you, all of you, like Sunny, David, and Martin. It's related to the visiting program. There's just one question, but I think other people maybe share the same thoughts. They want to know if there is some professor from this data science program to host a visiting scholar or a visiting student, if it is the case. It's not strongly related with the masters, but I think because of the Lehman Center purpose of visitings, I think it's an interesting one.
Yes, the answer is yes. There are professors affiliated with this program, with the data sciences program in the Lehman Center, and there are there's lots of interest. So if someone wants to be a visiting scholar in this area, they'll get lots of support, and also from other professors, not just the people in the Lehman Center.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's a great opportunity for someone to come in this area.
All right.
Do you have any? Are there many other questions there?
They are very connected. I think we cover most of the points here. I'm gonna share here the email of the Lehman Center. If there are some other questions, you can write direct to here. And
we're very excited about this program to recruit people from Brazil to come to apply into this program. It's this year, as Sana said, I think they're going to take 8 to 10 students on it.
Correct.
Yeah, but it's going to expand by next year, right?
That's the idea, because this is the first year.
Right.
We start small, but increase as we go.
Well, personally, I would love to see one student, at least one student this year. Maybe we can find such great people in Brazil that we can even get 2 students. That's a high percentage, but we really encourage people to apply here. And as David said, we are also recruiting heavily for minority students from Brazil. We're very, very, very interested in minority students, and the Lehman Foundation is supporting us in this effort, and will, if there are issues with English, for example, which seems to be the biggest barrier to coming to a U.S. university, we can provide help for that, particularly if this is done a year in advance. We can provide a lot of support on the English side. So again, we're very excited. We encourage people to apply.
I'd like to second that. Thank you, Martin. I want to emphasize that, we still have a month open for applications. And like Martin says, this is an exciting program. And I really would hate to miss the opportunity of, fantastic applicants. So hopefully today my talk gave you some insight of what data science is and whether it might be something for you. If you feel excited about it, I do hope that you apply.
All right. Thank you so much.
And many thanks to Sana for doing.
Yes, many thanks to Sana and thanks to Leo for hosting the meeting and moderating the questions.
All right. Thank you all. I am going to reinforce here what Martin, Sana, and David said. It's an amazing opportunity. I feel if you are a Brazilian, this is the moment to do that. Here at the Lehman Center, we have collected a lot of data that can be used as part of this program to your independent projects and things like that. And please try. I think you need to organize yourself and apply. Don't be shy and just apply.
And if you have data that you on the visitors or even the students, if you have data that you want to bring with you, we have all the facilities, really fast computers to deal with those data.
All right. Thank you all. We are gonna, this is the session for this year. We are gonna have other sections for the application in the next year too. So be tuned in the Lehman Center channels, in the social media and so on, that links for sessions like that will be shared there. Okay.
Mais uma coisa, Leo. Leo, pois put the link for questions in we didn't get to all of the questions, so I just want to repeat that if you have additional questions, please use the link there and we'll do the best that we can to answer them.
Exactly.
Let me just say one other thing that we didn't mention. Stanford happens to be in Silicon Valley. This is the data capital of the world. I mean, data use capital of the world. And the other thing about Stanford, which we didn't talk about, is that although this program's in the School of Education, at Stanford has an unusually easy access for students in any department to work with people in other departments. And we have, as you can imagine, probably one of the largest computer science programs in the world, and certainly one of the best. So connections to the computer science department, the engineering department, the business school, the economics department, the sociology department, all these connections have already been made between the School of Education and the Lehman Center, these other departments. So when Sana says that you take some specialty courses, it means not just in the School of Education, it means across the campus. So I think that, and by the way, even in the School of Design. So there are just lots of opportunities here for very, very innovative and exciting work. I've been here for a long time, and I'm always surprised about how much is going on here and how exciting it is.
Thank you, Martin. All right. Okay, thank you all, and good night.
Boa noite.